Hi, and welcome to today's tax update, brought to you from a very busy Hanoi in Vietnam. Today's tax webcast will cover the most important tax developments in the Cyprus tax legislation. So let's move inside and start our webcast. We will start today's webcast by looking at the most important developments in the local tax legislation. So let's set the countdown clock and start. On the 1st of June, the law that gives the power to the Commissioner to extend the submission deadline of tax returns was published in the official Gazette. A few days later, on the 8th of June, the relevant notification was published that sets a submission deadline of 31st of October 2018 for the 2017 tax returns of employees and self-employed with annual turnover of less than 70,000 euros. The same deadline, 31st of October 2018, is set for the settlement of any final income tax due for the tax year 2017. On the same day, 8th of June 2018, the laws that allow the decisions of the Tax Tribunal to be made public were also published in the official Gazette. The two laws, which amend the income tax law and the assessment and collection of taxes law, provide that the decisions of the Tax Tribunal will be published with retrospective effect as from the 2nd of January 2000, which is the date of establishment of the Tax Tribunal. In addition, the laws allow taxpayers to choose not to publish their name. This must be done when submitting the appeal to the Tax Tribunal and at the same time requesting in writing that the decision is published anonymously without disclosing the name of the taxpayer. On the 29th of June, an amendment to the law for the settlement of overdue taxes was published in the official Gazette. The law extends the deadline for the submission of applications to enter the scheme for relief from overdue taxes from the 3rd of July 2018 to the 3rd of January 2019. At the same time, the deadline for the submission of the relevant tax returns has also been extended to the 31st of December 2018. During this month, there was also an interesting development with regard to the tax reliefs provided within the context of loan restructurings. As a reminder, these tax reliefs are granted from 31 of December 2015 up until 31 of December 2019 and apply to the sale or transfer of a movable property from the borrower to the lender. A number of tax bills that were recently submitted to Parliament propose the granting of the tax relief even if the movable property is sold or transferred to a third party, as long as such sale proceeds are used for the reduction or repayment of the loans subject to restructuring. Finally, on the local developments, a bill was also submitted to Parliament that aims to regulate and tax short-term property rentals. We understand that the bill is proposed in order to capture the non-declaration of rental income from these rentals. The proposal amends the law on hotel and tourism accommodation so that anyone who wishes to rent out their property short-term would be legally required to register to a special registry that will be created and maintained by the Cyprus Tourism Organization. More specifically, the owners of the properties who would register their properties would be obliged to declare their bookings and at the same time pay the relevant taxes to the tax department. Penalties are proposed in case of non-registration. Moving on to international developments, the Tax Intermediaries Directive that was adopted on the 25th of May 2018 has entered into force on the 25th of June. As a reminder, the directive requires mandatory reporting by intermediaries and automatic exchange of information by the tax authorities of member states for certain cross-border arrangements in relation to individuals companies and other entities. The directive will apply as from 1 July 2020, and member states will have until 31 of December 2019 to transpose it into their national laws and regulations. The first reporting date will cover transactions from 25th of June 2018 to 1 July 2020. So it is important that tax intermediaries start reviewing reportable cross-border arrangements. Let's now look at some tax treaty updates. On the 20th of June, the Ministry of Finance announced the conclusion of the final round of negotiations of the tax treaty between Cyprus and Kazakhstan. And with an announcement on Twitter on the 26th of June, the Ministry of Finance announced the conclusion of the tax treaty negotiations between Cyprus and Vietnam after the second round of negotiations, which took place right here in Hanoi in Vietnam. We will provide details of these treaties once the agreements are made available. We will close off today's tax update with a brief reminder of the deadlines coming up. The 31st of July is a deadline for the electronic submission of the 2017 employer return. It is also the deadline for the submission of the 2018 provisional tax return and payment of the first provisional tax installment. Lastly, on the 1st of August is the deadline for the payment of the 2017 tax balance through self-assessment by individuals and companies preparing audited financial statements. This concludes our tax update for this month. Thank you for watching.